guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 12 o'clock on a Sunday, which means it's time for a Q&A. Now, this is where I take all the questions that you've asked over the course of the week and I try to answer them to the best of my ability. First of all, thanks very much for all the questions that you've asked. I really appreciate it. If you haven't seen the Q&A before, please remember to get the questions in by Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. I normally film these on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Any questions that come after that, I'm not going to see it. If I don't see the questions, just ask them below and I'll get to them the following week. Also, I don't really look at the questions beforehand. You're getting my raw, unfiltered opinion. If I think something needs a bit of a longer answer, I will normally do that the following week as well. There's a ton of questions this week, so we're going to get straight into it with this week's Q&A. Okay, so the first question is from Magic Dimitri, and Magic says, "Hi Craig, I've been doing magic for the last 4 years for kids and family audiences, and I have to say I've gotten pretty good. I entertain kids, make the adults laugh, but sometimes I'm in a situation I just don't know how to deal with. I've read books, watched DVDs, but some situations are new to me. So today's question, how to deal with kids that are just not interested in your magic show. I can understand the usual distractions like Cheetos, chips, drinks, toys, Nerf guns. Don't get me started on the Nerf guns, but sometimes there's a 7, 8, 9-year-old boy or two who'd rather talk and move around and distract other kids than watch magic show with everybody else." Okay, so that's a great question. So we're talking about how to control kids, or specifically unruly kids, in the context of a kid's magic show. So first of all, right at the very beginning, ascertain the age range of the audience, because you said here you've got like an older kid that's normally distracting others. If there are older children that are at an event, so let's say I'm booked to do a 6th birthday party, but there's a couple of 9 and 10-year-olds, they do have the potential to be a little bit distracting. So the first thing that I'll do is, if I know that there's going to be a couple of older kids that are there, I'll actually go up to them before the party starts. So when I see them arrive, I'll go up to them and I'll say, "Hey guys, just so you know, you're a bit older than the other kids here. The magic show is going to be more aimed towards them. However, I'm going to do something a little bit later on, which is specifically for you. I'm going to actually teach you how to do a really cool magic trick that you can show your friends and family. Let me show you a really quick trick now." And I'll do something like super impressive, like coins across or something like that. And I say, "Hey, did you enjoy that? Fantastic. Well, do me a favor. If you could make sure that the kids in the audience, the younger kids, if you can make sure that they're paying attention, that'd be amazing. And then afterwards, while they're having their party food, I'll come over and I'll teach you how to do a super simple trick." Brilliant. So what you've just done is you've taken the kids that potentially might be a little bit unruly, those older kids, and you've kind of spoken to them like a young adult. You've explained to them that the show is not going to be that for them, and you've given them a reason to pay attention to what you've got to do, because later on you're going to teach them a really cool magic trick, and you've backed up your claim by showing them a really cool trick. 9 times out of 10, that will cover everything, because 9 times out of 10, those distractions, and you've specifically said older kids, and that can happen when there's older kids at a party where there's younger children, you've brought them on side. Now they're going to be your best friend, right? So that's the first thing that I do. The second thing, in the warm-up, one of the questions that I do right at the very beginning of the magic show is I say, "Who'd like to come up and help me? Put your hand in the air if you'd like to come up and help in the show." Now, what's going to happen? You're going to have some kids that aren't going to put their hands up. They're shy. That's fine. You're going to have some kids that are kind of putting their hands up and maybe half putting them up or putting them up. And then there's going to be maybe 2 or 3 kids that put their hands up in the air so fast, so quick, that their arms almost come out their sockets. Now, those kids are the ones that want to be the center of attention. Any kid that throws their hand up in the air that quickly is going to want to be the center of attention. So those are the children that potentially could be a distraction, because the kids that can be, I'm not going to say there's no such thing as naughty children. There are. However, a lot of the kids that we consider naughty are just wanting to be the center of attention. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to get that attention. And that can come across as naughty sometimes. By asking that question, you know who these kids are. So as long as you get them involved more in the show than anyone else, what's going to happen is you've got them on side. Now, that could be as simple as asking them a direct question. So, "Hey, I need a magic word. You over there, what's your name?" "John. John, do you know a good magic word?" asking them a direct question. It could involve bringing them up on stage. It could be involving just presenting and looking them directly in the eye so it feels like that you're presenting a particular piece of the show directly to them. Make them a part of the show. Bring them in and give them the attention that they crave, and they will be your biggest fan, and they won't be that person that's causing problems, right? So that's the second thing that I'd say. The next thing that I'd say is eliminate distractions. You've talked about Cheetos and chips and drinks and stuff like that. One thing that we have over here in the UK is balloons all over the floor. Parents think that's a good idea. So I make a joke out of it. I can't have balloons all on the floor. It's going to cause a problem in the show. So at the very beginning of the show, I say, right, all these balloons on the floor, I'm going to count to 5. First thing we're going to do, I'm going to take the balloons, put them at the back of the room and come and sit down. We're going to do that in 5 seconds. At the end of the party, you can have the balloons back, but you can need your hands and feet during the show. Right? Everyone, go. 1, 2. And I make a big game of them moving the balloons out the way. Out of sight, out of mind. You eliminate those distractions, they're no longer going to be in the way. That's a really important thing as well. And the other important thing is, don't forget that when you're motivating children, you can either do so with a carrot or with a stick. I never use the stick, I always use the carrot. So if you can see that their attention is waning during the course of the magic show, give them a reason to continue to be kind of involved in it. So for example, if you're going to do balloon modelling, the kids don't know you're going to do balloon modelling, you do. So you could say, for example, who here likes balloons? Who'd like a balloon model to take away with you? I tell you what, if you can help with the next 2 tricks, because I really need your help with this because I struggle. If you can help with the next 2 tricks, then I'll absolutely, definitely give everybody a balloon model at the end of the show. Is that a good deal? If that's a good deal, put your hand in the air and say me. Okay, so you guys are going to be really well behaved for these next 2 tricks, and then at the end of the party, I'll make everyone a balloon. That works really well, okay? And understand, and this is really important, that the kids don't know what you're going to do. You know, there's no harm in cutting the show down slightly and going into party games early if you're doing like a 2-hour package. If you feel that the show is waning, it's totally up to you. But yeah, I mean, and do this type of magic that older kids would enjoy, ideally. You know, you look at my show and I do stuff like Miser's Dream. I do linking rings. I don't just do kiddie stuff, and do the type of magic that a kid would relate to. So for example, one of the things that I do when I open up my show is I do self-tying shoelaces, because I know that kids, one of their biggest problems is they don't know how to tie their shoelaces. They're learning how to tie their shoelaces. So if you walk out on stage with untied shoelaces, they're gonna say something, and the second they say something, you just look down and you go, oh yeah, and you tie your shoelaces by magic. They think that's real magic. You can have all the handkerchiefs in the world. You can have all the sponge balls in the world. But you having the ability to tie your shoelaces by magic just by looking at them, that's real magic to them. So think about the tricks that you're doing as well and make them relatable to the children that are in the audience. So there's a few ideas. Hopefully that'll help you, Magic Dimitri. But any further questions, let me know down below. Okay, so the next question is from Magic James, who says, subscribe to the Netrix here. Good job. Thanks, man. Can you prioritize more pen Sharpie sleights, fundamentals and formulas for the numerous vanishes and sleights that you've seen me do in 5x5s on the Netrix Sleight School, please? Absolutely. This is the sort of feedback I want, because every week I'm striving to make the Netrix better and put the content out there that people want. So absolutely. The next upload's on the 29th. It ain't going to happen before then. But the following upload, which is like the 1st or the 2nd week in June, I will absolutely fill it to the brim with sleights with Sharpies. I love Sharpies, so that's absolutely not a problem. And can you do a full tutorial on the cards across? Much love. Well, my invisible cards across is on there. That's on there, which is the cards across, the self-working cards across. And I've also got another version of cards across on there with double back cards, which is like an extension of an old Paul Harris trick. But Las Vegas Leaper, that's it. But yeah, I mean, the classic cards across that I do on stage, or the classic cards across that I do in a walk around situation, absolutely I can go through that as well, because I have got my own handling tweaks on that. Again, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to upload on this first session after the 29th, but I'll make sure that the cards across is one of those for you, so look out for it, okay? Okay, so the next question is from Adrian Suter, who says, hi Craig, I have 2 questions concerning wands. 1, you never seem to use a wand. What are your reasons? Just never really used one, to be perfectly honest. I used to back in the day. I do use one a little bit in my kids show, but not really. It's not something that I carry around with me. It's not a I've been able to, I do one routine with the wand, actually. I do a ring on one routine, which is really cool. But no, I've just never carried one around with me. So there's two reasons to carry a wand around. And the first reason is as a display of your magical powers. Like, hey, the wand is the thing that's making the magic work. If I tap this with the magic wand, that's what's going to make the magic work. I tend to not go down that style of presentation at all. So that wouldn't work for me. The second reason that a lot of people carry around magic wands, especially back in the day, and David Roth talked about this, is they would have it as a way to hide bad technique. So back in the day, when hundreds and hundreds of years ago, magicians used to carry magic wands because their sleight of hand wasn't very good, and so they telegraph maybe palming the ball. So by holding a wand, it makes the hand looks more natural. If you're holding something secretly in your hand and then you've got a wand, the hand becomes more natural looking, right? But my technique's pretty good, especially when it comes to coins and small objects and stuff like that. So I feel very comfortable palming something and not having to worry about holding something else in my hand to cover that sleight. So because of that, I don't need to worry about carrying a wand around for that. So, it's just pocket space that I don't need to have. And the quintessential routine with wands is cups and balls, and both myself and Ryland don't use wands during the cups and balls routine. So it's just not something that I've ever considered doing, to be perfectly honest. It's just not something, it's just not something I do. It's just not something I do, carry a wand around with me. But I think, you need to work out yourself if it's your character or not. And the next question was, where can you learn wand spins? Well, I mean, Vernon's wand spin I did learn, the drummer's wand spin, I think it's called. But I think that one of the best sources I've seen to learn the various wand spins was Michael Amar's Cups and Balls DVD, which you can still get. I think it was an A1 Multimedia or an L&L publishing set, and it was all about his cups and balls, and he went through the various different wand spins. So I would suggest starting with Michael Amar. That's a great source to learn wand spins. Okay, so the next question is Mike Tyson by TKO. Hey, buddy. Mike Tyson by TKO says, hey, Craig, question. Why did Vanishing Ink rebrand your Masterclass to Petty Unlocked? Seems interesting that it's the exact same thing, but with a rebrand. Thanks as always. Yeah, I agree. It is the same thing. They contacted me about this, and they said, hey, there's so much great material in your Masterclass, and there's so much stuff in there that works really, really well, that we want to rebrand it as a kind of a Craig Petty Unlocked. Because some people maybe, I don't know the reason, some people maybe don't buy the Masterclass, but they might buy something like that as more of a download. I don't know. I signed a contract with Vanishing Ink. They bought the rights to everything to do with the Vanishing Ink Masterclass, and they can rebrand it however they want to. So, I've got no problem at all with them taking that material and marketing it however they want to. I think it's a smart business decision. And I think that's what it is. It's a business decision. They've decided to take this material and repackage it so that more people will buy it. And, that's smart. That's why Josh and Andy are where they are, I imagine. Philip Austin says, Craig, thanks for the info on 3 ungimmick card effects. Like you, I find myself doing Shuffleboard a lot. It's great. I'm at present learning card for box, so thanks for that. You're more than welcome. I always do an ace. Assembly where the spectators find the cards. Have a great penguinship. Thanks for your effort. Keep the magic alive. Regards, Phil. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I've got I love Shuffleboard. I think that more people should do Shuffleboard. And I've got a project coming out probably 2024. It's in its very early stages right now. But some point in 2024. And this particular thing that I've got is designed specifically with Shuffleboard in mind, or the Shuffleboard sequence. Now, there's a lot more you can do with it beyond Shuffleboard, but my original inspiration for creating the thing that I was creating was because I thought it would be a very cool way of doing Shuffleboard. And if the project pans out like I think it will, I think it'll take Shuffleboard to the next level, but we will see. But I agree with you, Philip. I think Shuffleboard is amazing. Okay, so the next question is Magic for Beginners. And Magic for Beginners says, I have a question. Where's the best place in the world for ice cream? Now, I've had a lot of ice cream. I'll tell you right now, the best ice cream I have ever tasted, bar none, is in Bath. If you go to Slight's Magic Bar in Bath, directly opposite the entrance to Slight's. like directly opposite, is an ice cream parlour. Now, in Bath, there's about 1,000 ice cream parlours. You can't go 10 seconds walk without seeing an ice cream parlour. But I was there filming with Keith, the videographer from Murphy's Magic, and also Jay Blunt, who was helping with some of the bits and pieces when it came to filming. And we stopped partway through the day and went over to this ice cream parlour to grab ice cream. I have never tasted ice cream that's as good as that. I mean, it was all handmade. It was weird flavours, never seen before. Really, really good. Now, the other place that I can recommend for great ice cream is, I can't remember the name of this, but we go there all the Daisy Made, that's it. So I just had to Google ice cream in Lincoln. So I go to Lincoln an awful lot because my wife Sarah, her brother is in Lincoln, and so we go over a lot to see her brother and his kid and his wife and so on and so forth, Sarah and Jonathan. And in Lincoln there's a place called Daisy Made Farm. Okay, and it's a drive-through. You can actually drive through, but there's also a sit-down area. There's a play barn for the kids. It's really cool. It's got a coffee shop. They do food as well. But incredible ice cream. Incredible ice cream. As good as the place in Bath. So daisymadefarm.co.uk if you're ever in the Lincoln area. And if you're ever in the Bath area, go to Slights. And while you're there, opposite Slights, there's an ice cream parlour that is brilliant. So there you go. Okay, so the next question is from Phil Lawson. And Phil says, hey, Craig, what's your favourite Ed Marlo trick? I'm doing a 5x5 on Ed Marlo soon, but my favourite Ed Marlo trick, I think, is... my favourite Ed Marlo trick, I think, is probably his open prediction. I've done it a few times on this project, on this channel. His open prediction is amazing. He uses the ribbon spread hideout in a really clever way, and it's just brilliant. I mean, Marlo's got some awesome material. Marlo Without Tears is brilliant, and Bill Malone's DVD set on Marlo was equally as good that he brought out through L&L Publishing. But I'd say my favourite trick that I've seen, I haven't seen all of Marlo's stuff, but the stuff that I have seen, I'd say it was the open prediction. I was more of a Vernon guy than a Marlo guy, to be honest. I spent more time studying Vernon than Marlo. But out of the stuff that I've seen Marlo do, I'd say his open prediction is great. Okay, so the next question is from Daniel Carter, and Daniel says, I recently started doing Instagram magic and I've been really enjoying it. How do you or Ryland deal with negative, mean-spirited or method-revealing comments on Instagram? So I'm not really that big on Instagram. I mean, I've got 3,000 followers or likes or subscribers, whatever you call them. I'm more of a YouTube guy. I'm more of a kind of long-form content type of person. I'm not really, I kind of don't really spend much time doing Instagram. Ryland, however, like I'm sure you know, he's got like 17,000 followers on Instagram, and most of his reels that he puts up gets, you know, minimum of 5,000 views, normally 10, 20, 30, 40,000. So he's really big into Instagram. So it's Ryland really that gets most of the crap. Now, here's the thing. Ry is 10, so he goes on Instagram under supervision from his mom. I have nothing really to do with his Instagram channel. I'll help him film some of the videos sometimes, but he decides what videos he wants to film. He actually films the videos with me. His mom puts them up for him and edits them and so on and so forth, but he writes the comments, and he'll go on Instagram under supervision. And what I mean by that is he'll go and comment on people's videos and on Facebook and Instagram, but his mom will be there to make sure that he's not going anywhere he shouldn't do, and she'll have checked a lot of the comments before he goes and looks at the comments on Instagram. He loves reading comments, he really does. We shield him from a lot of the negative stuff. He's 10 at the end of the day, so you get some negative comments on Instagram. I've seen it. I can't it's good that his mom deals with it and not me, because his mom is very surgical about it. And what I mean by that is if she sees somebody who said something negative or mean or something like that, she just blocks that person immediately. She's like, if you get, she says to me, if you're gonna put a comment on and it's a mean comment and it's on a 10-year-old's channel, then they just need to be blocked immediately. She's very surgical about it. She's just like, block and move on. She went away on a spa trip for a couple of days, and I took over his Instagram channel for a couple of days, and she came back and it was chaos because somebody had sent a message to him. He'd commented on a couple of videos and then sent a message to him saying, And it was a really dodgy Instagram account, and sent a message to him in Messenger going, "Hey, can I be your friend? I like feet. Can you take a picture of your feet and send them to me?" And I replied back to him and say, "Hey, this is Ryland's dad, you sick fuck." And I said, I got into an argument with this guy, and Sarah was like, "You should just blocked him and moved on." I'm like, "But the feet and the..." So I'm not allowed to deal with his Instagram because I just get angry at people and want to shout at them. How dare you ask for pictures of my son's feet? Well, she just blocks and moves on. So how do you deal with it? Ryland doesn't really deal with it because he doesn't really see any of the negativity, but Sarah deals with it by blocking and moving on, out of sight, out of mind. To her, it's just like block. And if it's a method revealing comment, but it's somebody who's not being mean, but just saying, "Hey, I know how you do that, it uses a double lift or something," she just deletes the comment. And if the same person is doing it over and over again, she'll block them. And I think that's probably the best way to do it. You know, I spend a lot of time thinking about negative comments on YouTube, and if I just blocked anyone that left a negative comment, I think my headspace would be a lot clearer. So I think Sarah's method is the best way to deal with it. Just block and move on. Block and move on, I think, is the best way to do it. What's the point in dealing with crap when you can just be focusing on something else? Next question is from Justin Hutchins, who says, "Hi Craig, do you have a favourite thought of card routine? Who do you think has the best thought of card routine, and where's the best place to find them? Thanks for all you do." My favourite is Think a Card, where you spread through and you say think of a card and you tell them what the card is. Lots of people have got work on that. I think the best person to do it is Nemid Phoenix. I mean, when he does Think a Card, it just blows me away. I watch him do it over and over again, and it's just incredible. It's his opening. It's his opening to his card set, and he just gets people to think of cards and he tells them what they are immediately. It's just such an amazing thing to watch him do. He's put his full Think a Card routine on the Netrix, so I don't want to make this an advertisement to the Netrix, but if you want to learn Think a Card, I think Nemid's the best person that's ever done it, and that's on the Netrix. Mark Mason has got work on it. You can check out JBTV. Matthew Wright has got work on it, so you can check out Matthew's website. But yeah, there's lots of people that have got work on the Think a Card plot. But I think the best way to do it pure with a regular deck is Nemid's technique. If you're wanting to use a gimmick deck, then I think you're probably looking at John Kennedy's, is it the Mastermind deck? The one that the David Penn and Wayne Fox 52-1 deck is based on. I think that's probably the best pure gimmicked Think of a Card style routine. But if you're wanting to do it with a regular deck, yeah, Nemid. Okay, so the next question is from Ryan Mabe, and Ryan says, "Anytime I get a trick that uses up something, I found myself not wanting to practice it, so I don't use up the stock that I have, even when it's something as simple as an envelope or tearing up a card. Do you have any tips on practicing a trick or a routine that requires destroying something or using something up to help me get over this hurdle in my mind?" I suppose just ask yourself a question. Is it a trick that you want to do long term? Does it have longevity, or are you just wanting to dabble around with it to see if it works for you? Sometimes you'll get that idea from when you first watch a trick, when you first look at a trick and you go, "Wow, that's amazing. I know I can see myself doing that forever." If it's something like that, then bite the bullet, man. Get yourself a couple of refill packs and just go out there and just practice it, destroy those cards, and then go out and do it. I remember when Tornado is a trick I do a lot by Rick Lax. It was brought out by Penguin Magic. I think Tornado is brilliant. And I went through an entire box of, because you can get refills in boxes. I went through an entire box when I was learning that routine because I wanted to get the tear down so it looked natural. I wanted to get it looking really, really good. I really wanted to get every aspect of that routine nailed. And, you know, it took me a box to get it looking as smooth as I wanted it to look, but it was worth it because now I go out with a couple of cards in my pocket and I can kill with that routine. So Tornado is a perfect example. You can sometimes, depending on what the card is, like get yourself some old cards and just pretend that that's the card that you're destroying. It depends on the routine. It depends on how involved the gimmick is or the card that you're wanting to rip up. But my attitude is really simple. If you can't fake it and you really want to perform the routine and you think it could be a mainstay of your act, then just go out there and actually do it. Okay, so the next question is from Illusionist Said Zeus, and Illusionist says, hi, I know you're not a big fan of scripting. I recently read 2 books about making a new show, and both of these books very strictly said that it is definitely necessary to write a script of everything. I like writing scripts, so that's not a problem. I just wanted to know your thoughts on why you don't write scripts. Great, as always, great Q&A. Great question. It's just, horses for courses. One person goes one direction, one person goes another direction. I don't write scripts, but I do think very, very carefully about a presentation that I use when I'm creating a trick or learning a new trick. And what I'll do is I'll write down presentational points. So I'll write down what I want the routine to be. What type of presentation am I looking for? Am I looking for kind of more of a which hand style thing? Am I looking for more of a story-based thing? I'll write down ideas for how the presentation will be. And then when I'm actually putting the presentation in my head, I will write down points that I want to hit in that presentation. Then when I'm practicing it to camera, because it's so important to practice to camera, because then you can look back and see exactly what it's like. But when I'm practicing it to camera, I'll look back and I'll see if I've hit those points and if they made sense in the order in which I've hit them. Now, that's not scripting. I'm not scripting an entire script out. What I am doing is I'm thinking about how I want the presentation to be, and I'm thinking about important points that I want to hit during the course of the presentation. The reason I like doing it that way is I don't like reading a script ad infinitum, verbatim. I just don't. I think it looks very, very rehearsed. It looks very, very scripted. Now, Ryland, he likes writing scripts for everything, or he'll have me write a script, or he'll try and write a script. And one of the big problems I've had with Ryland as a performer is he looks so rehearsed sometimes, especially when he's first learns a routine. You can just tell he's just reading from a script, and it takes a long time to get him to move away from that and instead put himself into it. I think the danger when you're reading a script or you're learning a script and you're just repeating it ad infinitum is it can look very heavily scripted, and I've never wanted that. The other thing is I like to deviate. Part of the way that I present magic and the way I am is I like to go in different directions, and I'll do that all of the time. I'll start here and the plan is to go there, but along the way something different will happen. And I like to have the ability to go in a different direction, and I can give you a million examples. When I was over at Penguin this last week, and I was in every night I was going around bars doing live performances, like every single night, and the set that I was doing was very much dependent on particular tricks that we needed live performances of, and so on and so forth. But there were several times when I'd be going over to a group of people and I planned in my head, right, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to go do this. And in the middle of the presentation, they said something which caused me to go in a completely different direction, which if I'm scripted, I can't do that, right? So I like the ability to tailor what I'm doing to the audience in which I'm performing it to. And anyone who I've seen heavily script stuff out, they've not done that, and it's come across as very rehearsed. But you know what? There's no right or wrong path. I'm not saying what I'm doing is right, because it's not right. It's right for me, but it might not be right for you. Likewise, you love scripting. Great. These two people that have said in books that you should definitely write a script. Brilliant. For them, that's cool. I'm sure it's definitely correct advice for them. For me, it's not. That's the beautiful thing about magic. We can go in whichever direction we want to based on how we feel is the best way to go as performers. Okay, so the next question is from Alan Zorn. What does Alan say for himself? Alan says, EDC to Lloyd's suggestion for an index. Craig, I'm looking for an index to put into my carry-on case, my carry-on stroke close-up bag that Lloyd suggested in the EDC tutorial. Lloyd made a couple of suggestions, but none of which would fit the bill. So I was thinking of an index that had 15 slots on one side and 15 slots on the other side. Question, might you know or have you a suggestion for an index to use with EDC? No, I haven't. I haven't is the answer. Lloyd's trick on ED seats is absolutely brilliant. It's not one that I would ever do because from a practicality point of view, it's a bit, you're not going to be able to reset. It's going to be a difficult trick to reset, right? As that special one-off performance, I think it's brilliant, but it's not something that I would ever do. So I've not really given much thought into how I would set up the index, purely because it's not something that I would ever perform, and my head's full to the brim of stuff anyway, without throwing more ideas into the mix that I haven't got time to kind of flesh out. But in terms of how I would set the index up, I would imagine that the best way to do it would be to go down the route that Lloyd was talking about, or go down the route of kind of like a silent treatment style thing. If you don't know silent treatment, go check it out. Silent treatment is amazing. It's by John Allen. It's an incredible trick. But the index that's used in that would also work really well with the ED seat. So can't really help you anymore because I've not performed it the way that Lloyd does it. But, you know, that's what I've done. Okay, so the next question is from Afia Duan. Afia, how you doing, buddy? Says, hey, Craig, question. I know it's a private person, but maybe you can try and interview Mike Gallo. Something similar there in yours and his thinking, and I wish I could hear his stories. And also maybe Tyler Rabbit is an excellent and creative coin man. Thank you. Yeah, I'll reach out. Reach out to both of them. Mike Gallo especially would be amazing. So I always love ideas and ideas for Talk Magic. So that's brilliant. I'll see what I can do. Okay, so the next question is from Ryan Mabe again. And Ryan says, been trying to think of a good story through line for my set list. The first thing that came to mind is telling the spectator that as a magician in training, I need to be able to do certain things, like make things transpose or influence people to think of a certain thing. So far, I've been able to fit into most of the tricks I know, but is it actually a good idea or a plot to use? I'm sure I thought of it because I saw something similar before too, and I don't want to steal anyone else's idea. Thanks as always, Craig. I'm really saying to anyone else, do something like that. You're talking about having the presentation going along the lines of, I'm a magician in training, so I need to learn how to do this, 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 and this. I personally wouldn't go down that route because I'm kind of trying to portray myself as a pro, as a professional. You've booked me because I'm the best. If I turn around and I say, hey, I'm actually a magician in training, people will buy into what you say. Also, if you say that, there might be less chance that people want to book you. Hey, they might not ask for your business card because you've openly told them that you're a magician in training. Doesn't matter how good you are. So I wouldn't personally go down that route. But I mean, it's up to you. There's no harm in doing it. It just wouldn't work for me. Another idea down that route is to, one thing that I've done a few times in the past is take a double blank deck of cards and take about 26 cards and write down every single type of magic that you want to do. Transposition, penetration, teleportation, invisibility, all of this different stuff. And then say, hey, we're going to make this show really interactive. There's all these different things that a magician can do. But we're going to start off with one, and I'm going to let you choose what we do. So do me a favor, just say stop. Okay, so we've got transposition. So I'm going to show you how to make two objects change places. Remember, you're the one that chose how to do this. You're the one that chose what we were going to do. You could even take it one step further and have another half the deck with different things that you could use. So, and I did this. I've done this quite a lot as a presentation. I had a deck of cards. 26 cards were ideas that were sort of different magical effects that you could do as a magician. The other 26 were items that a magician would use. I had those written in red pen, and the others I had written in black pen. So what I did is I said that the opening presentation was, hey, I create magic. I don't just perform magic, I create magic. A lot of the stuff that you've seen me do tonight is my own creation. And a lot of people turn around to me and say, Craig, how do you create a magic trick? And I say to them, well, the answer is very, very simple. I have one of these. Now, this is a deck of cards, but it's actually blank on both sides. The top 26 cards, they have different things that I could use to do magic with. We're talking about balls and coins and rope and string. While these are all different things that you can do as a magician. I'm talking about transposition, penetration, teleportation, levitation. So we're going to have you pick one of these, and you can pick one from this packet. Say stop. Fantastic. Say stop. So what have we got? We've got coins and we've got penetration. So I have to make 4 coins. I'm going to make some coins penetrate through an object. How about a solid table? I'll make 4 coins, go through a table one at a time. And it's the use of this deck that allows you to do the routine that you want to do. And then you can say, well, you know, we've done coins, we've done a penetration. Let's keep the coins, but let's do something else. Pick a different card. What do we have? We have teleportation. Okay, that would mean making the coins jump from one place to another. I've got an idea. And then you go into it. And then after that routine, it might be, look, let's start again. Rather than using coins, pick another object. What have we got? We got a lemon. Fantastic. You get the idea. It's this whole concept of how to create a magic trick that strings all your individual routines together. Okay, so the next question is from Andrew Wigan, and Andrew says, hey Craig, thanks for all these videos. You're probably the most informative magician on the internet. Thanks, buddy. This week I have 3 questions, which I know is a lot, so feel free to skip any of these if you don't want to get bogged down to one person. Well, let's see how we do. Question 1. You said a number of times how a hobbyist can do whatever they want, and they can perform any type of magic that they want. If you're able to put together a set consisting of purely whatever the hell you want without concern for commerciality, what would you do? Great question. I would probably do a whole bunch of coin magic, all of which is themed to David Roth's best magic. I love David Roth, and I think that the best coin magic is the coin magic that he released that's kind of impractical in a lot of performing situations. I'm talking about the world, the rainbow, the sleeve. I'm talking about the portable hole. All of these crazy, wonderful props that he used to do these amazing magic routines that involved sitting down, lapping, imp passing. I grew up learning that stuff and just being blown away by how amazing it was. It's why I love coin magic so much, and specifically why I love David Roth. Unfortunately, a lot of it isn't practical in the places that I work. I'm just never sitting down at a table with my audience in front of me. If I'm doing a parlor show, I'm standing up. If I'm sitting down, I've got people surrounded to me and I haven't got a close-up pad. So a lot of this stuff is done just for me. It's one of the reasons that I loved the pandemic. I didn't love the pandemic, but what I did love is virtual shows. I really enjoyed doing virtual shows because it allowed me to take my magic in a different direction, because now for the first time ever, I could rig my show however I wanted. So, you know, I had a close-up pad, which was made with a savant, and I had lots of different stuff going on there. Yeah, and that was fun. I really enjoyed doing that. Didn't enjoy the pandemic, but I did enjoy that. So I think if I could do anything, it would be a 45-minute tribute act to the magic of David Roth. Okay, Andrew Wiggins' second and third question we'll throw in together because the quote's short. So he says, since you regularly have other magicians on the show, have you considered doing a dual Q&A where you both answer the questions together? No, the closest that I get to that is the Magic Podcast, which me and Lloyd do every Wednesday and goes out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and your favorite podcasting platform. And yeah, the Magic Podcast is great. And me and Lloyd answer the same questions together. And we get different questions on there than I do on this. So you could say that that's actually a dual Q&A, but I've never thought about doing a Q&A on this channel on my own. But maybe it's something that I'll do in the future. Maybe I'll get Matt involved. God help us. And then the third question, can you say anything about what I'm going to call Magician's Pinky? I've noticed nearly every coin magician has it, but I don't recall anyone reading or hearing someone talk about it directly. I don't even know what Magician's Pinky is, buddy. I'll happily talk about it, but I don't know what it is. I've never heard of Magician's Pinky. I tell you what, put in the comments what Magician's Pinky is, because I genuinely have no idea what you're talking about, and I'll answer it next week, I promise. Okay? Okay, so the next question is from Alessandro Pericoli, who says, hey Craig, first of all, thank you for your kind and thoughtful replies. You're more than welcome. Thanks to Brass Buttons, I've discovered the copper silver brass set, which I've never used before, and I must say is now one of my favourite coin routines. It's brilliant, isn't it? I was planning to ask Roy Coopers to make me one set using the type of coins from apparition, Eisenhower dollars and Chinese coin. However, I was wondering if a copper silver brass routine will be included in the set you will release soon, since in one of your videos you said that it works in synergy with apparition. Thank you. Yes, my new coin set is out at Magic Live fingers crossed, all things considered. It will be out at Magic Live on a soft launch with a live launch towards the end of the year. And it's already filmed, it's already in the bag, and it's got nothing to do with copper, silver, brass. I don't plan on having anything out that's like copper, silver, brass at any time soon. So feel free to ask Roy to make you a copper, silver, brass set from the apparition coins. That sounds like a really good idea. Maybe that'll change in the future, but I know what I'm doing for the next 2 or 3 years, and I don't think anything's happening at that point. The next question is L8, late forever for EVA. And Late Forever says, when is the new J Sankey 5x5 coming? Well, I've done 3 of them on J now. I am going to be doing a 4th one soon. I can't tell you when, but it's going to be very, very soon. But I've got a bunch of people that I'm trying to do 5x5s on at the moment. The 5x5s where I talk about a performance, 5 performances that they do, are proving to be really popular. I want to do one of those on J at some point soon, but it's going to have to wait. Next question is from Matt Peters, who says, is there any chance of getting a Mike Davis handling of Keymaster video? I don't know. I'll speak to Mike. I mean, obviously, he showed me his handling at Blackpool, and I was absolutely blown away. Very, very different to my own. Very, very clever handling. Mike is a real clever guy. I'll reach out to him. Maybe he can do like a performance that I can share on Magic TV. I'll speak to him and see what we can do. The next question is from Divisham Magician, who says, do you cuff cards? Can Ryland do a coin roll? No, I don't cuff cards. I think you're talking about that, where they all come out. That's something that I've never done. Even before the pandemic, I never did it. It's just not something that I've ever kind of wanted to do. I think I probably did it once or twice as a joke, but it's not something I regularly do. And can Ryland do a coin roll? Yes, he can. He did a coin roll. He started rolling coins at the age of 4. And he's pretty badass with a coin roll. Not as good as me, but he's pretty badass. Okay, so the next question is from Stephen Peters, who says, hi Craig, have you ever thought about doing the hows and whys of wallets? I'd love to hear some of your ideas about specific utilities common to most of them. No, I haven't, but that'd be a really good idea. At some point I should do that. Probably more towards the summer, because I've got a very busy schedule for the next couple of months, but definitely it's something that I'll probably get on with. I'll write it in my little... Okay, so the final question is from Adrian Suter again, and Adrian says, can you say something positive about the Penguin Partner Program and recommend some good contributors there? Well, yeah, I mean, the Penguin Partner Program, there are obviously flaws with the Penguin Partner Program in that anybody can release any old crap. However, Dr. Cyril Thomas, I think, is the best thing that's come out of the Penguin Partner Program. Dr. Cyril Thomas and his band magic is brilliant. Do yourself a favor and go and check out his latest one. I'm on here. Go check out Intrication by Dr. Cyril Thomas and Justine Cesari. It's incredible. Like, it's amazing. Just go watch the download. I've just bought it. When I was over at Penguin, Sean Dunn showed me the trailer for this. I'm like, man, that's amazing. And he releases all of his stuff as downloads through the Penguin Partner Program. So if it wasn't for the Penguin Partner Program, we wouldn't have Dr. Cyril Thomas, and he's brilliant. But go check out his new trick. It's a download. It's $9.95. It's called Intrication, and it's simply amazing. Really, really good. You'll be blown away by the trailer, and the method is very practical as well. So there you go, guys. That's another Q&A in the bag. Do me a favor, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Now, you want to see more videos like this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. If you want to see more videos like this, you know what you need to do. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below. You want to join the Netrix, go to www.thenetrix.com. Go see what all the fuss is about. We've got 5 new things going up on the 29th, including a brand new routine by Chris James, who has just joined the Netrix. And if you want to go and check out my online shop, please do so by going to www.magictv.org. I'll be back again soon. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget, this evening I've got a review show special going up at 9 o'clock. My name's Craig from Magic TV.